There is a sutra when the Buddha gave a brief description on right view. And he said right view is the kind of view that is free from the notion of being and non-being. Right view is the kind of insight that is free from discrimination, from the tendency to think dualistically. Suppose we look at this marker, and we can say that this end represents the above and this the below. Or if we put the marker horizontally, we can think of the left and the right. In our mind, the left is something opposite of the right. The above is something opposite to the below. Being is the opposite of non-being. Life is the opposite of suffering. Happiness is the opposite of suffering. Life is the opposite of death. And happiness is the opposite of suffering. And sometimes we want just one, and you don't want the other. We only want happiness, we don't want suffering. Suppose you think of the kingdom of God, or the Pure Land of the Buddha. We have the tendency to think, to believe that the kingdom of God, there is no suffering, there is only happiness. And according to the Buddha, that's not right thinking. Because suffering always go with happiness together, like life and death. We only want life, we don't want death. We want to eliminate death. We want to keep only life. And that is not right thinking. It's like we want only the left, we don't want the right. The fact is that if politically you are on the left, you cannot wish the right to go away. Because if the right is there, it's not there, the left is not there either. In Plum Village, we grow lotus flowers in all our hamlets. And we know very well that without the mud, there will be no lotus flower. You cannot grow lotus flowers on marble. You need the mud. Looking into a lotus flower, you see something very pure, fragrant. And you don't have the impression that the lotus flower can be made of mud. That does not smell very, very well. It's not very clean. But looking deeply with mindfulness and concentration, you can see the mud in the lotus flower. Without the mud, lotus flower cannot be. The same thing is true with suffering and happiness, life and death. Death always goes in couple with life. If there is no death, there is no life. Like there is no, if there is no mud, there is no lotus flower. And the biologists can practice looking deeply with us. When the scientists look into our body, he saw that birth and death happen in every moment. There are cells in our body that die at every moment in order for other cells to be born. Without dying, birth is not possible. Birth and death happening at the same time, are happening at the same time. And they are always to go together. Because we don't want to look deeply, we think that now is life and that will be later. In 30 years, 50 years, 100 years. Now is life and death will be later. But in fact, left and right exist at the same time. Above and below manifest at the same time. So when God say, light should be there, and the light may answer, I have to wait. What are you waiting for? I'm waiting for darkness, because we can only manifest together. The same thing is true with being and non-being. There are theologians who say that God is the ground of being. And we may ask, if God is the ground of being, who will be the ground of non-being? In fact, God transcends both being and non-being. You cannot ascribe to God the notion of being. If you do, you do not have right view. Birth and death happen in every moment of our daily life. There are many cells who die each moment, but we don't have enough time to organize funerals for them. There are many cells that are born at every moment, but we have no time to celebrate their birthday. Death is happening right now, right here, not something late, some time later. We are experiencing death, dying in every moment. Why are we afraid of dying? The left and the right rely on each other in order to manifest. Whenever there is the left, the right is there right away. In Buddhism, there is the term interbeing. Being the left cannot be without the right. The right cannot be without the left. Suppose we try to eliminate the right. We use something to cut it out and throw away. But this becomes the right. So right and left, they lean on each other in order to manifest. That is why light has to wait for darkness in order to express, to manifest at the same time. And we should train ourselves to look at reality in this way. When we meditate on suffering and happiness, we know that happiness is made of non-happiness elements. It's like this flower. This flower is made only of non-flower elements.